Greetings, chess friends. Today, a game from the year 1955. This was the U.S. Junior Championships, and Bobby Fischer playing with the white pieces. You may have seen this game if you follow the videos online, as the gentleman with the black pieces is still alive today, 90 years old, give or take, and he's still playing active tournaments as of last month, June 2024. Viktors Pupols is his name, from the northwest of the United States, and an old friend of Yasser Seirawan. From his early days, they played many, many games. This game, with a very young Bobby, played e4, e5, knight f3, and f5. Now, this gentleman, Victor's, an interesting character, a sort of local legend of chess. America is full of these type of strong players who have lived in the same area for many, many years. What is especially interesting to me is that in the 2015 U.S. Open, I actually played Viktors Pupols, national master, and that game was a draw, an interesting fight. He was still very strong, 2015, still well over 70 years old. This game, the Latvian Gambit, a dangerous opening, but Viktors was from Latvia, and he learned it there with a lot of great attacking players and quite a talkative character. He speaks about this game even in a recent interview, as it's obviously quite the highlight of his long chess career, beating Bobby Fischer, the ultimate scalp of a strong player, even if Bobby wasn't quite anybody special just yet. He was much younger than most of the participants in this tournament, and Victor's maybe 5, 6, 7 years older than Bobby. Okay, let's jump into the game. White has really not gotten any pawn for free out of this gambit, but still enjoys good development. The computer absolutely hates this game and gives both players some poor scores, but we will avoid talking about that too much and just try to enjoy the show. Of course, Black is trying to play d5 himself. That would make a very nice 4-pawn chain all the way in the center. So Bobby plays d5. I'll remind you, this is the year 1955, and Bobby doesn't fare that well in this tournament. A few losses, a few draws. The next year, he plays the game of the century. And the next year, he becomes the U.S. champion. So a really rapid rise. You always hear about Bobby, the first real prodigy. And this game, just before all that, Bobby in 55 would be 12 years old, roughly. Maybe 13 or 12, I believe. So, okay. This knight in the center, well placed. Black castles, and Black's position has a lot of attacking potential, especially if White were to put their king on the king's. There it is. Castles into it. Bobby, brave with the rook. Queen, this knight jumping in. This bishop flying in. The knight is close by. All the black pieces are primed for attack. Don't forget about this pawn, which is defended and centralized, controlling key squares. Bishop d7, king h1. Bobby did understand there was danger pointing straight at his king. Also king h8. Knight c4, knight f g4. Now that is an attacker's move. Notice it also opens the rook. The knight, if you take it, that is protected by the other knight. Next, the queen can start to connect. Really, Black is ready for this attack. Queen e1 guarding the f2 pawn, which was under attack. And here, there were a lot of missed tactics in this game, and this is going to be the first one. Victor's played here rook f7, but there was a fantastic move available, knight f3. What a move. We won't get into all of the details, but the obvious ones are fun. If you had played pawn takes, winning the most material, apparently. Pawn takes, let's say this bishop is under attack, bishop d3 hitting the queen. The game is just over, really over. Queen h5, and it's undefendable checkmate coming. You can throw a few pieces in the way and slow things down, but it's mate. So he missed this fantastic move, knight f3, but rook f7, intending, of course, to double the rooks. As we always say here, use more pieces when you're attacking. H3. Again, knight F3 was possible here for all the same reasons, but he plays knight F6. Knight takes knight, pawn takes knight, bishop C4. It's a good principle to exchange or trade away pieces when you are under attack. Really, white is feeling a little pressure and would like to get some pieces off the board. Bishop pointing here at the rook on F7, rook back to F8. So you can see black is stalling a little bit. Both players young, inexperienced, so this is not a perfect game. But of course, Viktors reaches strong master level, and Bobby, of course, the legendary world champion. Knight h5, another attacker's move, and let's call it the second try for this knight. This knight did come to g4, had to retreat, and is now trying to go to h5. So good luck, knight, on your attacking journey. King h2, not a great move. Bishop d6, starting to line up things with the king. Here's a place maybe you, the viewer, can improve. If you point at the other team's king and queen, good things are going to happen. And you might say, Chris, what are you talking about? There's a pawn right in our face. How would I know to put the bishop there and stare at this pawn? Well, watch what happens. Bishop b3, knight f4. That's threatening nothing less than checkmate. Bishop takes, pawn takes. You were saying there's a pawn in the way. Now that pawn has taken a step forward, still in the way, but can obviously move. So point at your opponent's king and queen, and good things will happen. Bobby got greedy, as he tends to do with this move. F3 check. Now that might look like check, and then the next move we can play queen takes pawn checkmate. But all in one move, white can defend that. Obviously, Bobby saw that. But bishop f5, missing another major opportunity here. A natural looking move, but black had queen h5, and this pawn really can't be guarded. Notice a move like h4. We're going to see this in the game. Many strong moves here. I like rook e8. That's what we'd all play in a blitz game. But rook f4. Actually not that hard a move to see, strange as it might seem. Of course, if you take this, there's no surviving after queen takes. And we'll just mate you with the pawn protecting the square g2. Another check and checkmate on g2. So, wow, a lot of that was possible, but here, again, he missed queen h5, a pretty simple win, and there were a few of them in this game. Bishop f5 was the real game. Rook e8, using all the pieces. Bishop e5, kind of avoiding trades, but black has really missed some opportunities, still slightly better. Queen b4, and vacating the king side is not a good idea. Queen h6, now that is a good move, threatening to take this pawn and checkmate. Can we pause here and amidst all this danger, just rewind a minute to the moment where black had just castled and white says, you know what, I should castle here. All of this danger could have potentially been avoided had he redirected, done something different, tried to develop this bishop and queen and castle long. Wow, what could have been? But here we are under huge danger. h4. Notice the bishop staring at the king. This pawn is not protecting anything. Almost. We can capture here. The only thing is the queen is still watching that. So can we potentially take this one if we can move their queen out of here? But it's not meant to be. He goes for g5. The other amazing move would have been bishop takes g3. I told you this game was full of missed tactics, missed opportunities. This would have been another beautiful one. If f takes, that clears the second rank for the black queen. Again, all these checkmates have to do with this pawn, so pay attention to how strong a pawn can be when it gets deep in the enemy territory, the 6th or 7th ranks. Here you can throw a few pieces in the way, but the end result is going to be the same. Wherever the king ends up moving, queen g2 is checkmate. So that would have been another nice one. g5 is a logical move, but one move ago, bishop g3 would have been lights out. g5, rook h1, g takes h4, king g1, a logical try. You could almost imagine children playing this game and kind of sputtering through. The engine I'm looking at is giving -7. h3, not the best move here. And actually, this move puts the game back into interesting territory. A move like bishop takes g3. Again, this would have been really close to over. If bishop takes g3, the point is that these rooks are staring at each other, and really, white knight needs to do something immediately about this. Should you take this rook, it's just almost checkmate. We just take back a rook here, very close to mate. If you ever do take this, we are checkmating you here in just one more move. Okay. Wow. All of that possible, but not to be. H3, and the game takes a different turn. Captures. Not too significant to the game. Queen C5, Queen G7. Again, starting to set up that sacrifice, which he already missed a few times. So an interesting struggle. And let's be honest, this is a more realistic game that you or I might play, full of mistakes. The computer is saying missed win every other move. But it's real. It's not easy to play high-level chess, and you go back and you say, I missed these tactics, especially in quicker, rapid games. That is the case. Easy to miss tactics for all levels. I will note here, now that this pawn is taken, White's defenses are really feeling slim. But I did watch the interview about this game from Viktors himself here in 2024. And he said that Bobby actually flagged in this game. But you'll see a horrible blunder ended this one. Bishop d4, rook takes f3, but things are really going south here. Another missed win would have been the stunner, bishop g1. An incredible move. If you take that, the game goes queen d4, and again, the queen just gets in here. h2, the finishing move here, threatening not only to promote, but queen g1 here. A really scary situation. So, wow, this game, because of the pawns, were really, the white king was in more danger than either player realized, I suspect. But captures on c3, rook e2, bishop e4, and this feels over. It's time to resign. But no, actually white, Bobby Fischer, has a way to save the game, a perpetual check. You yourself might be thinking in a real game, the rook is cutting off my king. The pawn is so close here. I'm pinned and stuck and captures and checkmate. It feels hopeless. But there's a way. Queen c8, the best move. Here, Bobby slips. Queen d7 would have been the answer. Let's see the game. Queen g4 and Viktors blocks. Queen d7. King h6 resigns. Why did he resign here, Bobby? If you were to take this, now when we block, you are pinned to the king, and it is a forced trade. No matter how that happens, bishop e6 or even queen takes queen, this rook is just getting taken, and black is winning. How could he have kept the game alive? It was really right here. Queen d7. What's the difference now? If you hide your king on the same square, now this is check, and you're not blocking with your queen, but you move the king, and we go back. It appears black is winning because they're about to win a rook, but they cannot escape these checks. If you go to the back rank, be careful back there, but let's say queen e8 and queen d7. Forward, still dangerous. So an amazing game. It ended with king h6, and here Bobby resigned. The win of a lifetime. Of course, at the time, it probably didn't feel so amazing. But as the legend of Bobby grew, again, it says GM down there, but he was just a boy, not a GM at this time. And like I said, within 2 years, he would be the best American player and soon playing for the candidate spots and the best in the world. So an incredible game. Again, one from the very early days of the catalog of Bobby Fischer. An interesting little story about the gentleman they call in the Northwest Uncle Vic. Again, that I played myself in an interesting clash in the US Open 2015. So thanks again, everyone, for watching. Hope this was an interesting lesson about a local hero playing the all-time greatest Bobby Fischer. And we'll keep rolling with some fun chess content. Thanks again, and please subscribe if you get the chance. Bye-bye.